everyone, it's Lauren again. I'm coming at you with my third video in this little series. I skipped a few days. I'll get to why and what was going on there. I was not in a good mental state to film, and I do apologize, but I now have more information, and I was wanting to attend my follow-up visit with my doctor and kind of get clarification and get some information so I could pass that on to you guys. So I am day 7 after having an abdominal hysterectomy where everything was removed but my ovaries, so cervix, uterus, and fallopian tubes. Just to preface in this video, if graphic, medical, surgical, information, content, language, if those things make you squeamish or uncomfortable, I'd rather you just know about that before you continue watching, just to pass information on to you as accurately as possible. I do have to kind of talk about that. So just a quick preface there. So when my doctor opened me up, and I realized this from speaking with him yesterday, they knew that I had large uterine fibroids. That's all they knew, really. What they did not know is I had a huge fibroid mass that was the size of like a human heart or something. It was bigger than my uterus. Also, the neighborhood dogs bark all the time. I love it. I don't even notice it, but if it bothers you, and I'm sorry, I'm not a YouTuber, so I don't know how to filter that out. But when he took that out, when they were removing my uterus, I guess lifting it up to remove it from my abdomen, they noticed I had this enormous, it had like veins on it. I swear, it looked like a human heart. It was enormous, and you could see to scale the surgeons or the surgical team, someone's hand was behind it, and it was even larger. I mean, it was this huge, heavy mass. He said that is what pushed my uterus so far up. My uterus and my bladder were pushed all the way up around where my belly button is. He's like, that's very abnormal. So the reason I have an in-place catheter is to allow my bladder to heal. So when they were performing a very, very common procedure, he noticed that my bladder was very thin, papery thin, almost see-through in places, because it had been stretched so far up in the abdomen just to accommodate this enormous growth that was just taking over everything. It was pushed up, and when it did stretch, it was the wall of the bladder was compromised, apparently in several areas. And he noticed a very thin spot that when they were, again, just trying to cut everything away, I guess, it was like a perforation, like a small tear. So he had to make a repair to that. They had to make sure that there were no other leaks after the procedure was done. He said they had to fill my bladder with like 200 milliliters of sterile infant formula, because it's like in the liquid form in the hospitals. It's a sterile, safe way, because it's milky white. They can, pump you full of that and look to see if there are any leaks. And luckily I didn't have any other leaks. So I just wanted to mention that, because again, I had no idea what was going on. I thought, oh, maybe he nicked something, or there was just a weak spot. Maybe there was a big fibroid like pushing up against one spot of the bladder, and that was, maybe they grew together. I don't know. My health literacy is pretty much like any other lay person. I don't work in the medical field. I've taken anatomy and stuff for like pre-nursing, but that was 15 years ago. So I also worked as a nurse's aide too, so and I'll get to that maybe in another video, but so definitely some things that I've encountered and did in my work about 7 years ago kind of came into play here. So it was really helpful. So I didn't know. You're trying to imagine what the doctor's telling you. You're still like under anesthesia, and then you're like, oh, I have a catheter. What? Like this is probably just a couple of days. No big deal. Well, I went to see my doctor yesterday, and yesterday was actually 5 official days of having the catheter in place, or 6 days of having it in place. Today is the 7th day. It's all running together, but yeah. So he noticed that he said my incision, that the check-in with the incision, he removed a good bit of the, what do you call it, like the surgical skin glue, wound glue. He removed that and just examined the incision. He said it was healing up really nicely. A lot of the bruising and redness and all that, honestly, that has not been the problem at all. It's been my bladder and this Foley. I was in a dark place the last 2 days with it. It was not good. I didn't want to film. I thought today I would, get some happy in me and try to explain this in a way that would be helpful. That's the whole point of this, is to make this information helpful to anyone that's going through it. So yesterday I had my 1 o'clock appointment with my doctor to check in on this, and I thought, okay, great. And he'd mentioned that we would check on the Foley catheter situation and see if it was, deemed good enough to take out. Well, he mentioned, and I remember thinking, how will he know that? There must be some test or something. Of course, I'm not going to know what it is, but there must be something he'll have to do there in the clinic. So I was, you're kind of nervous, like, Lord, I've been through a lot already. And here we go with this other test and exam and Lord knows what else. No, he just said I have to go in for a cystogram, which is a scan of the bladder. So he needs to see how the bladder is healing up, and that will determine whether or not they can get rid of the Foley and have that removed or not. He cannot safely do that until he knows, and I trust his decision. I'm so lucky. I have a great doctor. So I'm very, very lucky. He's very knowledgeable and very careful and very caring, and that helps. Another video though. Everything was fine. I woke up in the morning. I had no other issues yesterday, no discomfort. But I remembered at one point over the night, I woke up in just a furious sweat, like a cold sweat. And it was weird because everyone else in the house was comfortable. I was boiling up. I had to shower, and I thought that was strange. And I thought, I hope I'm not running a fever. I hope I don't have some kind of infection. And then upon standing, I noticed, again, more graphic stuff, but the entrance to the urethra where the Foley tubing is placed, definitely some irritation there. I am using like a leg strap that came with the Foley catheter to secure it, to keep it from just dangling, and that could catch on something. Even the walker you're using, it could be very dangerous, and you could trip also on the tube, and that could almost pull it out possibly. You don't want to do that, or even pulling on it would be painful. But this was, I had just woke up. I had just stood up, and I noticed there was like that stingy, tingly, uncomfortable feeling there where the tubing is inserted. Thought nothing of it. I thought, well, I need to just, I was due for a shower anyway. I've been showering like 3 times a day with the Hibiclens foam to keep that area really clean and hopefully not cross-contaminate or introduce bacteria. So that went fine. That seemed to help, certainly. But I needed to get dressed because I was getting ready to go into town and get ready for that appointment. I live about an hour from the hospital and doctor's office that I go to, so I was going to just wait it out at my mom's house and just hang out with them for a little bit while I was waiting for the appointment. So as I was there, though, over the next couple hours, over the morning, I just noticed, again, I want to make this brief, but I just noticed I was not feeling well. I felt very tired, and I was wanting to talk to my mom. I had slept well. I was wanting to talk and engage and just kind of feel some semblance of normalcy instead of just sitting in my room alone like I am now. But I just felt immensely tired. I was so tired, and I thought, okay, well, thank God I can just go to this appointment, get this over with, and then I can just go home and maybe another nice hot shower and a nice nap. So everything was fine. I brought my leg catheter to my mother's house, and they showed me how to clean the tubing, cap the tubing. Again, another video, but to be able to switch that and do it safely there, and you're not spilling urine, because that's so disgusting. I could not So I had to do it very carefully. But anytime you work with your Foley catheter, you want to wash your hands, use hand sanitizer, and follow all of the sanitary instructions there of just safe handling of the tubing and things. So again, not to introduce bacteria. That's the main goal, because that's what leads to the UTIs. So did that. Everything was fine. I went ahead and emptied everything, made sure the tube was clear. I washed my hands, used hand sanitizer. I got a little alcohol square and opened that up. I even put gloves on. Like, I was just trying to do everything that I could to do this in a safe manner. I got to my appointment a little bit early, and I was driven to my appointment, by the way. I did not drive. I'm still not feeling quite up to that. Maybe another couple of days, but I was driven to the appointment. I had my leg, catheter collection bag on, no problem. It went fine. But again, we were like 20 minutes early. The doctor's office, though, they were working me into my doctor's already scheduled appointment, so it needed to be quick anyway. It was just an incision check on the Foley, quick talk, and move on. So I thought, the least I could do is get there maybe a little bit earlier than the usual 15 minutes early. So I got there, I went again, washed my hands, and in the clinic, I went ahead and emptied the Foley bag, went ahead and did that, because again, the one on your leg does not hold very much, and I was trying to control my water intake at that point, but still, there's a good bit. And again, that's something you want to do when you have a Foley catheter in place, is to drink lots of water. I wouldn't just live off coffee and sodas, and your body's having to work so much to filter all that. I just love like water or hot tea and very little sugar. So, and we'll get to that too. But while I was there, I had a long skirt on. I've never had to wear skirts. I'm such a tomboy. I'd rather wear boots and jeans and stuff. I'm not a skirt person, but my mother, thankfully, went and picked up a couple skirts for me, because with this, wearing underwear is not possible. So I just wore like loose gym shorts. They're like oversized like gym shorts. I wore those and routed the catheter and the tubing through the right leg. I'm right-handed, so I like everything on the right. So that made me feel like I was kind of wearing like a slip and underwear. But yeah, that's another thing I need to wrap up the video with and talk about, is just definitely how to dress. But just more on the medical health side of things. Things kind of took a turn right there at while I was at the appointment, when I kind of loosened the strap of the bottom part of the Foley to kind of hold it over the commode and take the cap off. I noticed this horrible smell, and I worked as a nurse's aide. You know how certain smells are tattooed to your brain. It's like, that's a UTI. I don't work in healthcare. I'm not self-diagnosing, but I did not know it was a UTI. I knew there was something very, very off with my urine, and I thought, great. That's just great. Like, that's all I need. I'm probably going to be on antibiotics now, more medications. I was just taking steps backwards, I felt like, in my health here. But I went ahead and I was so embarrassed. I capped everything, took some toilet paper, dried the end off, and then, fixed my skirt, went and washed my hands, hand sanitizer, the whole thing. But I could not get over how strong my urine smelled, considering how much water I drink. So another 10, 15 minutes go by while we're in the waiting area. When the nurse does call me in, I mentioned, hi, my urine, I just emptied my bag because I had to, because it was just getting full. It smells really bad. It smells strong. It's a strong, pungent odor. And I have not had asparagus. I haven't had anything, weird. I haven't even eaten today. I told her, I was like, I still don't have much appetite, which is strange. But she said, oh, well, gosh, I'd love to have collected that. We could send that off to the lab for a culture. Do you feel like you might produce a little more urine over the next 20 minutes? I said, without a doubt. I will definitely have some more urine here soon. So the doctor came in and we had our chat and everything. So everything was otherwise okay. Again, my incision was fine, but he saw the collection, cup and said, okay, so I guess we're going to get a sample. And I was showing him. I said, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't look cloudy. My urine didn't look cloudy or anything, but the smell, it was just like I had drank nothing but coffee for 10 days. And it was, it was starting to get darker. And I thought, I am very hydrated. I haven't done it. I haven't taken vitamins. I know there's a thing there. Nothing. I wasn't taking anything out of the ordinary that was not prescribed to me to take. So they sent that off for a culture, but my doctor is awesome. He said, you know what, as we're walking out, he says, I think I may go ahead and call in. He said, because tomorrow's Friday. He said, let's go ahead and call in a prescription for you for an antibiotic. So I'll get on that. And I thought, okay, well, I had to come back to my hometown again. It's an hour away, about 50 minutes away. So right as we're like 10 minutes from the house, we get the notification from the pharmacy that it was ready for pickup. Like, dang. So I had to wait till today. My husband had to go back into town. He had to get a couple other things, so it wasn't a wasted trip, but my doctor's fast. He's just really fast. Wow. I kind of felt like probably I would get a UTI, but I have done everything I could to, and I'm trying to collect my thoughts again, I'm sorry, but I felt like I probably would get a UTI with it being in for a week now, but I've done everything that I can to prevent that as much as possible. So a couple things that I know of that you can do to kind of help prevent a UTI. The very first thing is to use, if you're sent home with a Foley catheter, if there are other different types of catheters, any kind of catheter, more than likely your nurse or doctor will send you home with the foaming Hyba cleanse. It's Hibi cleanse. I believe it's like a pre-surgery wash up that they use. It's a antiseptic foam that's unlike anything on the market. It's a unique foam application that rinses quickly. It kills bacteria and is really, really helpful. So I've been using that. So every time I shower, I use that in that area. So that's the first thing, is definitely hygiene. If you can, at least 2 showers a day. With a Foley catheter, and I touched on this earlier, but I cannot wear underwear, which is just so embarrassing. My mom, she's so sweet, she actually ran to like the discount store and picked up like some different skirts, and she's like, girl, I know you would never wear these out of the house, but that's okay because you're not. These are cheap, they're affordable, and you can wear these at home. I know they're crazy colors and patterns, but who cares? They're like a knee length or a long, just open skirt, which allows for the tubing and everything to be, affixed to your leg. Nothing is getting tangled. You can probably wear pants, but I just worry that it would get tangled up. So I have opted for like long, like knee length or a T length, just cotton skirts. So that definitely helps, is just having some skirts on hand. So if you're a woman, definitely if you have a couple skirts, you might want to have those handy, or just kind of think about where those are. And just in case, if you have to have a catheter in place, I did not think my tomboy self would ever need to wear skirts at home, and here I am. So the second thing is hygiene also in the bathroom. So with a Foley in place, the tube is of course going into your urethra, and then it's redirected to the front of your thigh, right or left thigh, and then to the collection bag. And you have the long, it's like 3 feet of tubing. When you're going to be in the bathroom and you're going to have a bowel movement, you want to make sure as much as possible, if you have like some flushable wipes, those would be great. The big thing is you don't want to introduce fecal matter to that area. Huge, huge risk. And a lot of it, by and large, I mean, you cannot help that, right? I was trying my best. I was taking stool softeners, and again, TMI, but thank the good Lord, finally I was able to like use the restroom. It was like day 2, day 3 of being home, which was like day 4 post-op. Things were kind of getting back to normal. What you want to always do, and again, this is just good hygiene practice for any woman for vaginal and urinary health, is anytime you are wiping after a bowel movement, you always want to go from the front to the back. You never want to bring, the toilet paper and fecal matter towards the vagina and the urethra. You always want to go away if you can and go backwards. Something else I do is I have some unscented, and then the general store brand of unscented flushable wipes. Make sure, of course, before you do start to use those, that your home plumbing can handle that. You might want to rip them in half, which is what I do, because they're really large. I mean, they're like that big. Rip it in half and then fold it. Use that, and that way you're removing, again, any fecal matter that you can, and that can be flushed down. The third thing that you want to do, of course, is to wash your hands with maybe 30 seconds, 20 to 30 seconds with hot soapy water before you handle that. What I do also is after doing that, I will use a little bit of the Hibiclens to wash my hands, okay? And then I get into the shower. I just want to make sure if anything's splattered, I mean, TMI, but here we are, right? If anything got on the tube or maybe on the inside of your area down there, if there's even a small microbial presence of fecal matter, you want that gone. The Hibiclens, you want to use that the front and the back, and that's definitely going to help. So that's a great way to help prevent this. Sometimes you can't help it, so if you get a UTI with an in-place catheter, please don't beat yourself up, because I've done everything I could, but we're like lay people, right? We're not professionals. This is not my job. I don't do this every day. So the knowledge base there on how to do this is like just about what anyone else's would be. So something else though that I did start taking was Azo. Not sponsored. Why would I be sponsored? But this is the Azo Cranberry for urinary tract health. This is more of a supplement. It is not a medication. It is in no way meant to treat a UTI or to even really prevent it. It does say helps to cleanse and protect. The jury honestly is still out on whether this is effective. Again, this is a supplement. It is not a medication. So this is basically a big dose of vitamin C, a little bit of calcium, and it does have like a cranberry proprietary blend of actinium macrocarbon. And then also there's a small amount of a probiotic. It's a probiotic. It's Bacillus coagulans. I started taking this 3 days ago. I took it as directed, 2 capsules a day with a glass of water. Just because my husband bought me this, I had a UTI about 3 months ago. He bought me 2 boxes. The other one's all opened up and ugly, but I had a separate one open and still sealed. So check with your doctor though. Anytime you're going to be taking supplements, make sure it is safe for you to do so. I am, again, not a medical professional. I cannot recommend anything more than speak to your doctor and or surgical team. Make sure that would be safe for you to introduce. So that would be the third thing. And of course, just drinking lots of water, good hand hygiene. Try not to touch that area if you can. If you do need to kind of adjust the tube, if it feels twisted or something, just keep your hand sanitizer really close by and try to make that a habit. Sanitize those hands, wait like 10 seconds, let that dry, and then work with things. I feel like introducing bacteria is just so much easier when you're not being careful. It takes a lot of work to be really careful. So again, this is already almost 25 minutes. I don't want to make this too long, but I was recapping there about 3 days. So I was not feeling well. The Foley situation, I was just really slowed down, and that's why I didn't film the other 2 days. So and again, I wanted to see my doctor yesterday and get a little more insight as to why things were the way they were, how my bladder got to where it was. So I plan to do another video in the next day or so, and we'll kind of move into week 2 post-op with this catheter in place. So again, I'm at this point, I'm waiting on my doctor's office. They have a scheduler person that is lovely, and they'll call me and let me know when the cystogram will be, and I will be giving y'all more information there, and hopefully we can see how we do. So that is all for today. I thank you for your patience. Again, I tend to ramble and wander. I haven't been feeling 100% and I don't look 100% and I am very sorry, but I wanted to have a chat with you guys, bring all that information, and if you have any questions, please let us know in the comment section down below. The whole point of this is, again, just to help each other. If you've run into a situation, you're like, I don't know what to do here. This is new because I certainly was. I woke up with a catheter. I've never been catheterized in my life, so it's a learning process. So lots more information to come. Please let me know what you thought of this video and any questions or comments that you have. I would love to help out. In the meantime, we are moving into week 2, so I'll just talk to y'all later. Bye.